Beneath the Lone Star Shore, an introduction to coastal geology. The Texas coastline, stretching for hundreds of miles along the Gulf of Mexico, presents a unique geological environment. This region is not just a simple stretch of sand and water, it is a dynamic and ever-changing landscape shaped by natural forces over millions of years. Its formation is shaped by rivers depositing sediment and shifting sea levels. Over time, these processes have created a complex interplay of land and water, resulting in a rich tapestry of geological features. This coastal plain is composed of sand, silt, and clay, carried downstream by rivers like the Brazos, Trinity, and Colorado. These rivers act as natural conveyors, transporting materials from the interior of the continent to the coast. These sediments create a thick wedge that slopes towards the Gulf. This wedge is not uniform, it varies in thickness and composition, reflecting the diverse sources and pathways of the sediments. The geological makeup supports diverse ecosystems but holds vulnerabilities, especially when disturbed by human activities. Coastal ecosystems such as marshes and estuaries thrive on the delicate balance of sediment deposition and erosion. The unconsolidated sediments mean the land is less stable than regions with solid bedrock. This instability can lead to significant challenges, such as erosion, subsidence, and increased vulnerability to storms and sea level rise. Imagine layers of a cake, some more spongy than others. This is a simplified analogy for Texan coastal geology. Each layer represents a different period of sediment deposition, with varying degrees of compaction and stability. The clay layers play a crucial role. When saturated, they expand and support the land. These layers act like a sponge, absorbing water and providing a cushion that helps maintain the integrity of the coastal plain. However, if water is removed, the clays compress significantly, like a sponge being squeezed dry. This compression can lead to subsidence, where the ground sinks and creates problems for infrastructure and natural habitats. Understanding this geological backdrop is essential to comprehending the current crisis. By studying the past and present geological processes, scientists can better predict future changes and help develop strategies to mitigate the impacts on both human and natural systems. The thirsty earth groundwater extraction and its consequences. Extensive groundwater extraction is a significant human activity contributing to changes along the Texas coast. The Texas coastline, with its unique ecosystems and communities, has been particularly affected by this practice. For over a century, communities and industries have relied heavily on the Gulf Coast aquifer. This reliance has shaped the development and growth of towns and cities along the coast, providing a vital resource for daily life and economic activities. This aquifer, nestled within sand and clay layers, has fueled agriculture, industry, and provided drinking water. The water extracted from these layers has been essential for irrigating crops, supporting industrial processes, and supplying households with clean water. As populations and economic development have grown, the demand for groundwater has surged. Urban expansion and increased agricultural activities have led to higher extraction rates, putting immense pressure on the aquifer. When water is pumped out, particularly from clay layers, the water pressure that supports the land is reduced, causing the clay to compact. This compaction is a slow but steady process that can have long-term effects on the landscape. This compaction leads to a lowering of the land surface. Subsidence, or the gradual sinking of the ground, can cause significant changes to the terrain, affecting everything from natural habitats to human infrastructure. In areas with intense groundwater extraction, the cumulative effect can be substantial, leading to significant drops in land elevation. These changes can disrupt ecosystems, damage buildings, and increase the risk of flooding. The scientific community has been monitoring these trends, and the data paints a clear picture. Our reliance on groundwater has come at a significant cost to land stability. Researchers are working to understand the full extent of these impacts and to develop strategies to mitigate the negative consequences of groundwater extraction. When the skies stay dry, droughts compounding impact. Drought conditions place additional stress on water resources both on the surface and underground. When surface water supplies diminish, reliance on groundwater increases. This intensified pumping during drought periods accelerates groundwater depletion and subsidence. The Texas climate is naturally variable, with periods of drought being a recurrent feature. Recent trends suggest that droughts may become more frequent and severe, escalating pressures on the Gulf Coast aquifer. The interplay between drought and groundwater extraction creates a vicious cycle, making sustainable water management a formidable challenge. Cracks in the facade, visible signs of a sinking coast. Land subsidence eventually manifests in tangible ways across the built environment and natural landscape. Cracks in pavements, roads, and building foundations are common indicators of ground movement. These fissures result from differential settlement of the land, causing structures to crack, tilt, or collapse. Beyond immediate damage, subsidence increases flood risk, particularly in low-lying coastal areas. The scientific community and local authorities have documented these impacts for years. These visual cues serve as a reminder that the ground supporting Texan coastal life is fundamentally changing. The science of sinking, understanding land subsidence. Land subsidence is driven by natural and human-induced factors, primarily the compaction of aquifer systems due to excessive groundwater withdrawal. The Gulf Coast aquifer is a complex system of interbedded layers of sand, gravel, silt, and clay. When groundwater levels drop, water pressure in clay layers decreases, causing them to compact. This compaction is irreversible, leading to a lowering of the land surface. Scientists use precise land surveying methods and satellite-based radar interferometry to monitor subsidence. These techniques provide crucial data to understand subsidence rates and patterns. The cumulative effect of clay layer compaction results in observable land surface lowering. Understanding these dynamics is essential for developing effective management strategies. Echoes of alarm, scientific concerns, and dire projections. The scientific community is sounding an urgent alarm about the current trajectory and future implications of subsidence. This phenomenon, where the ground gradually sinks, is not just a theoretical concern, but a pressing reality. Researchers are tirelessly working to understand the full scope of its impact. Decades of research have provided a concerning picture of a coastline under significant stress. The erosion of these vital areas is accelerating, leading to the loss of land and habitats. The visible damage is a stark reminder of the urgent need for action. Projections indicate that without significant intervention, parts of counties like Fort Bend could sink by approximately 5 feet over 40 years. This dramatic change would have profound effects on the local communities, economies, and ecosystems. Population growth and groundwater extraction practices could accelerate subsidence rates. As more people move to these coastal areas, the demand for water increases, exacerbating the problem. The balance between development and conservation is becoming increasingly delicate. Scientists foresee a Texas coast increasingly plagued by flooding, more devastating impacts from hurricanes, and escalating infrastructure repair costs. The combination of natural disasters and human activities is creating a perfect storm of challenges. The ecological impacts, such as the drowning of coastal wetlands, are also a major concern. These wetlands are crucial for biodiversity, acting as nurseries for many species and providing natural flood defenses. Their loss would be irreplaceable. The scientific consensus is clear. The Texas coast is sinking at an alarming rate, and proactive strategies are urgently needed. Without immediate and sustained efforts, the future of this region looks increasingly uncertain. The time to act is now. Holding back the water's current efforts in mitigation. Various efforts have been initiated to mitigate subsidence by reducing reliance on groundwater. Subsidence districts in critical areas are tasked with studying subsidence, monitoring groundwater levels, and implementing regulations. The primary strategy involves mandating a gradual conversion from groundwater to alternative water sources. This shift aims to alleviate pressure on the Gulf Coast aquifer. Significant progress has been made, but challenges remain, including the high cost of infrastructure upgrades and securing reliable surface water rights. Despite these hurdles, these regulatory and infrastructure initiatives are vital first steps in protecting the Texas coast from further sinking. The challenge of unity, overcoming obstacles in management. Effective management of land subsidence requires a concerted and unified approach across multiple jurisdictions and stakeholder groups. The fragmented nature of water governance presents a significant obstacle. Coordinating actions and policies of diverse groups is a formidable challenge. The economic implications of shifting away from groundwater also create substantial hurdles. Overcoming these obstacles requires fostering greater collaboration, ensuring equitable cost sharing, and developing integrated water resource management plans. A call to the coast, securing a stable Texan future. Land subsidence represents a clear and present danger to the environment, economy, and communities of the Texas coast. This situation demands a proactive, sustained, and unified response from all stakeholders. Continued investment in monitoring, research, and predictive modeling is essential. There needs to be a greater emphasis on integrated water resource management. Accelerating the transition away from groundwater reliance is urgent. Public awareness campaigns and educational initiatives are needed to ensure collective action. The Texas coast is a precious asset. Let us work together to secure a stable and resilient future for its shores.